Every single Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're dropping our Want to Know Wednesday segment. This is where we're answering questions from the community, answering questions that I get all the time. Basically, this is just an FAQ, and I answer the question and we put it out there. If you enjoy these videos, if you enjoy this one, hey, check out the previous ones. If you enjoy this one, also check out the next one. Like the page, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with someone else who would get some benefit out of it, who is like-minded like you, who wants to grow, want to get their finances right, want to get their mind right so they can get their finances right. Today we're talking about duplexes and if you should buy one and live on one side of it and kind of house hack. And so if you haven't, let me start here. If you haven't come across our channel before, I'm Justin Spaulding. We own and operate 1,354 apartments. Currently, we have about 200 investors, and we're currently in the Midwest. So, we post a lot of things on this channel about money, real estate, finances, growing businesses, and life in general. So just subscribe to the channel if you're liking what you're seeing here. Getting into the topic today, buying a duplex and living on half of the side of it. So my mindset's a little bit different. Everyone's thinking about house hacking and whatnot. I think any way that you can add an asset to your balance sheet, your personal balance sheet, is a win, right? Now, as far as where you live, people think, oh, I'm just gonna live on one side and I'm living for free. You're not really living for free if you're living on the half the side of the duplex that you own. You know why? Because if you're living there for free, there could be someone else in there and they'd be paying you rent for it. So instead, you're living there, not paying yourself or your own business rent, so you're missing out on that rent, right? So that's a different way to basically pay your rent. A smarter way to look at it, and any way you look at it, wherever we live as human beings, where I live is going to end up being basically, it's essentially waste. We take up room, we take up space, we consume things, we eat food, we crap it out, right? Well, same thing. When we're living, we take up space, and that living in itself is a liability from a financial standpoint because we are consumers, right? And so I know there's gonna be a lot of people that argue with me on this video and on this point. There's a lot of people that have argued with me in the past on why I rented. I had 1,000 apartments before I bought a single family home to live in. And my mindset was because I wanted to rent, I wanted to keep my expenses fixed. I knew every single year for the 12 months out what I was gonna have going out of my pocket to live, like to rent a place, right? In home ownership, I got a boathouse I gotta fix right now. There's a roof you gotta fix. There's an appliance that goes out and breaks. It's all on you, and those things pop up unexpectedly, right? And so when I'm trying to grow wealth and when I'm just starting, I'm a big fan of renting. It's how I've done it. A million ways to play the game, I get it. 98% of the people though actually lose the first 10 years of owning a house. It really traps them, it locks them in, they have a down payment, again, something goes out like a fridge or whatever, and it hurts them financially, not allowing them to invest more. So my mindset was, how can I just fix my expenses for the next 12 months on the space that I live, right? And so I rented somewhere else. I never lived at my own property one time. Now, you could live at your own property, that's great, but again, you're still, either way, you're now not getting rent for that apartment, right? So it's fine. I think the win overall is you're thinking about getting a duplex, right? You're thinking about getting a 4-unit. You're thinking about getting a 16-unit and living in one of them, rent free. Great. I'm less concerned about the rent-free part or living on one side of the duplex to live rent-free. I'm way less concerned about that because I don't think that's actually a win, because I realize it's still actually a loss because you're not having revenue come in. But I view it as a win of you getting an asset on the balance sheet to start getting cash flow, to start building your net worth, and it will increase every single month. You make the mortgage payment, you take the rent from your tenants, you make the mortgage payment, right? Your equity goes up. If appreciation is going on, your equity goes up. That's what's important here. Pay attention. So many people want to pay attention to just what's coming in, the $1,000 coming in and $1,000 going out. You got to think bigger, and you need to think about the asset column. You need to get assets in your asset column. Now, if that means to wrap your head around it and to wrap your brain around it, if you think that you have to live on the other side of your duplex to make that happen, hey, fine, go ahead and do it. Or the 4-unit or the 16-unit or whatever it might be, go ahead and go do that. I'm all for it. I'm for it from a little bit different of a reason that you are, though, is I'm less worried about thinking that I'm living rent-free, and I'm more excited for you that you're about to get a duplex and add that to your asset column. You're about to get a 4-unit and add it to your asset column. you living in the side of a duplex, I'm trying to say this as many times as like from different, a little bit different vantage points to see if you resonate with it or get it, right? Because I know there's some of you that still might be watching. Some of you maybe turn me off. Some of you are still watching me though, still thinking, well, how is it not a benefit? Like, it's because that cash flow, you living on one side of the property, that cash flow then is not coming into your pocket. For example, if you have a 16 unit, right? 16 units are valued based on the revenue that comes in, you minus the expenses, it gives you a net operating income. You want that net operating income to be higher because that's how it's going to be valued. It's not going to be valued on the comp next door like a single family home is. Single family homes, they're restricted as far as like how high they can go because the appraisals and all that stuff come in to the comps, right? When you buy multifamily, when I go buy 460 units, they're not comparing it to the 460 unit next door. They're comparing it on how much cash it generates, right? So hang with me here now. If you have a 16 unit and you go and live and you think you're living rent free, well, guess what? If you're not paying the $1,200 a month in rent, I'm just doing some math right now, $1,200 a month, so it's $12,000. It's about, I'm just gonna use rough math here, it's about $14,000 a year, right? Now you're thinking, oh, I'm saving $14,000 a year because I'm not having $14,000 go out. But now here, when you start to actually build wealth, you start to get this, that it's not just cash flow is important, but it's not just in the cash flow, it's about the value of your asset as well. You not putting that $14,000 into the building, you not having a tenant that is contributing $14,000 to that building annually is ballpark, that's $210,000. That if you go get an appraisal, you're gonna have 200, because you did not have income coming in on that unit, because you think you're living free, you're gonna be shorted $210,000 when you go to sell it or when you go to refinance it. That's a lot bigger deal than your $14,000 going out, right? So you need to think, if you're just worried about saving your money and living rent-free, when there is no such thing as living rent-free, because I'm either gonna pay it in cash, you following this, Dan? I'm either gonna pay it in cash, right? If I'm living somewhere else, like I did for 7, 8, 9, whatever I rented, right? While I was building up my real estate portfolio, I'm gonna go spend the rent there, or I'm gonna live in one of my buildings, right? And this is actually worse to me. If I got an 80 unit building and I'm living in one of the units for free, not paying any rent, and I don't pay the LLC $14,000, multiply that by 15, that's $210,000 of value I'm now missing out on the property and on my net worth statement and in a refinance and sales proceeds if I go and sell the building, right? So it is a complete mindset shift when it comes to, this is why we are one of the most undervalued YouTube channels that's out there, because I understand. I swear that I look at this whole game, the cash flow, investing, real estate, business game, different than 99.99% of the people out there, and maybe even more than that, because 99.99% would mean that I'm 1 out of 1,000. I think I'm even more than 1 out of 1,000. I think I'm 99.99999% different than everyone else out there talking about cash flow, money, your personal finances, your business, sales, all that stuff. So get your mindset right. I love the fact that people are asking me, hey, should I live in one of the units if I buy this building? I love it from the standpoint of you're gonna buy the building and you have it in your asset column. I could care less about where you live, because wherever you live is going to be a cash outflow, right? Wherever we are consumers, wherever you live is, if you're banking on your house and that's it to be your retirement, you're not gonna, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna live that great of a life just banking on your house so you need to just pile asset. You need to find a way to make more money. Number one, you need to learn and get this type of mindset and watch these people who are making big moves, right? You need to have a different mindset, right? You need to learn how the money game and building wealth actually works. You need to find a way to make more money, to stash that money, not go spend it, not go pay down your debt. Find a way to stash that money and then buy assets that go to your asset column that then pays you every single month. And you need to rinse and repeat that as often as you can. As often as you can, rinse and repeat that. And then all of a sudden now you've got $5,000 a month coming in, $2,000 a month coming in, $10,000 a month coming in, $20,000 a month coming in, $30,000 a month coming in. of cash flow from your investments working from you, from your investments working for you, and it doesn't, at that point, it doesn't matter where you live. You're not worried about if I'm renting, if I'm, owning a house, if the fridge breaks because I own the house, if I have to fix the roof. You're not sweating all those little things. And that's the thing that this world is missing out on, is that there's so many people out there, there's so much misinformation about how money actually works that nobody actually knows what the hell they're doing, because they're hearing 800 different things from people who have actually maybe just dabbled in it a little bit, or tried this and tried that, and maybe had a little success for 2 months, and they're listening to all these people. Dude, find one person that is doing something and has been successful over a decade or more, and do what they're doing. Why are you listening to everyone else who doesn't? You listen to your uncle who he's never done anything he's telling you to do. Or maybe he has, and he's definitely not where you want to be. So why are you listening to people like that? Get your brain right. Pay attention to what you're putting in your body. Pay attention to what you're putting into your brain, and a lot of things will change for you. So that was a long-winded way to say it doesn't matter if you live in the duplex or not, if you live in the 4-unit or not, if you live in the 16-unit or not. Buy the dang thing so it's on your balance sheet in the asset column, and you're building wealth. That's my recommendation.